Summer school doesn't end until August 4th, but student leases end in July.
With more and more students attending Texas State, summer accommodations have become more of a hassle than a help.
Speaking of summer school.
And so don't think that it's going to be easier. In fact, in a lot of ways, it's harder.
We'll visit some summer classes to show you what's up.
We'll share some big plans coming up for the Round Rock campus.
We got an insider look at San Marcos's newest restaurant, and later.
Independence Day is coming up, and there may be a few surprises if you're planning a barbecue.
Hundreds of Texas State students have leases through the end of July. For some of them, that's a real problem.
The reason is summer semester goes through the first week in August, then fall semester starts 3 weeks after. Reporter Jacob Van Sant introduces us some students who aren't sure where they'll live next month.
Apartment leases can be a tricky thing, especially when they end 1 week before summer school finishes. This can be difficult for students who are trying to take finals while worrying about having a place to live. I spoke to Natalie Chung, a student at Texas State, about how she plans her summer schedule to avoid stressful living situations.
Yeah, I scheduled all online classes because I knew that I would be out of a place to live for the last few weeks of college.
I asked Natalie how apartments could make this transition easier on students without harming incoming residents.
I think there should be some accommodations. I think that it would be helpful if they had a late move-out policy.
While there doesn't seem like a reasonable way to navigate the perceived homelessness that students face, Natalie decided to leave early so the uncertainty didn't cause any extra stress.
Since I decided to take all online courses this summer and because I knew I would be out of a place to live for the last 2 weeks of summer courses, I decided that I was just going to be moving home.
Understandably, property managers didn't want to comment about summer accommodations. Unfortunately for students, it seems like there isn't many options regarding your final week of summer classes. For Bobcat Bulletin, I'm Jacob Van Sant.
A Texas State professor won a prestigious grant to study bilingual education in math. Dr. Jose Martinez Enestroza is an assistant professor of elementary mathematics and education. The Texas State Newsroom reports that he was awarded a 5-year, $860,000 grant from the National Science Foundation. He'll now study how teachers and researchers interact with bilingual students learning math. From those results, he'll create a teaching program. Dr. Enestroza is the first faculty member in the College of Education to win this kind of early career development grant. Most Texas State students are away from campus these days, working, hanging out with friends, catching up on some sun, but not us.
Some of us are here working away. As reporter Grant Kutosh found out, there are good and bad things about summer school.
Many students are currently enjoying the summer break, but some students are currently hard at work. I met up with Assistant Professor of Practice Dan Seed and Jairus Jones, a student in his visual storytelling class.
My biggest motivation was I graduate, and I'm supposed to graduate in the spring, but if I take summer class, I graduate in the fall, and I just wanted to finish school earlier. I knew that it would kind of be easier for me since I like the little short 5-week, it gets stuff straight to the point. So especially a small class like this, I could really just get to know my classmates and then also work with the professor more.
And we get into the full in the frame.
With only 5 weeks to work with, you have to condense things, which can make it difficult. I'll cover law and ethics, for example, during the long semester. That'll be an entire week. We don't have that time during the summer. Even some of the projects, the students create a documentary. Well, the documentary during the long semester, they work on it for an entire month. Here, we've got about a week. Students that take summer classes want to take them. They want to give up the time during their summer to take them, and they bring that effort. They're prepared, they're ready to go, they know what it takes, and so don't think that it's going to be easier. In fact, in a lot of ways, it's harder because of the workload and the expectations and that condensed time in order to get everything done and do it well and make sure that you're understanding the concepts that we have 15 weeks to explain, and here we've only got 5.
Some classes are busier than others. These are physical therapy students on the Round Rock campus.
You have 4 classes in the summer?
This one, anatomy, neuro.
We have a trimester, so we always have something in the summer, fall, and spring.
I took a lot of summer classes in undergrad, so it was too much different for me.
Do you think you will take summer classes in the future? I'm taking summer classes right now, and I highly recommend them. This has been Grant Kutosh for Bobcat Bulletin.
4 journalism students from Texas State had a heartbreaking reporting assignment. They interviewed families who lost loved ones from the Robb Elementary School shooting in Uvalde, Texas. Last month, the students produced 5 stories. In articles, photos, and videos, they told the stories of parents who experienced the worst day of their lives. Their work had such an impact that Texas Standard chose to run the entire interviews, and the Austin American-Statesman featured the students' stories. The family said the students were very well prepared and professional. Journalism professor Dino Kiecki guided the students. He said they approached their coverage with compassion and empathy.
Wow, those students did great work on a really difficult story. Earlier this summer, we introduced you to the Texas State Round Rock campus. Some big changes are coming over the next few years. Antoine Payne reported and shot all the video on this story.
Texas State Round Rock is hoping to continue its growth. Previously, I had a chance to talk to campus coordinator Amy Wong about the history of the campus. Today, I was able to catch up with interim vice president Dr. Janet Besner over Zoom to shed some light on the future of the campus.
We've gotten permission from the Texas Higher Education Coordinating Board to offer freshman and sophomore level classes. So that barrier, which did exist previously, is no longer a barrier.
The university is currently in the process of implementing a 7-year plan with hopes of adding 10,000 students by 2030. Dr. Besner did explain that the university was still deliberating over the full details of the plan.
Round Rock campus will have a health focus, but it hasn't really been determined that it will absolutely be a health campus, and that will be the identity of the campus.
When I asked her about ways to improve the campus, Dr. Besner's main focus was on connecting with the community.
We don't enjoy very solid recognition and awareness in the community that we are even there. I meet people constantly out in the community that have no idea that there's a Round Rock campus of Texas State.
How does Texas State and the incoming vice president find a way to continue growth in Round Rock?
To understand the community workforce needs and determine if we can help meet those needs with our degree programs. Those are the kind of decisions that will, I think, guide the identity, if you will, of the Round Rock campus.
Texas State is still reviewing candidates for the permanent Round Rock vice president, and there will certainly be more changes on the way to Williamson County. For Bobcat Bulletin, I'm Antoine Payne.
And we have breaking news about Round Rock. Texas State just named the first ever vice president from the Round Rock campus. Dr. Julie Lessiter will join Texas State from Louisiana State University, Shreveport. She was vice chancellor for strategic initiatives at LSUS. Here she'll oversee growth in multiple programs. The university's strategic program includes the goal of having 10,000 students at the Round Rock campus by 2030. Small business owners help communities like San Marcos thrive.
Yeah, they do. Reporter Ray Yates and I made our way to Balcón, a new modern Mexican restaurant, to get an idea of how someone starts the journey to open a restaurant.
Small business owners help communities like San Marcos thrive. I made my way down to Balcón, a new Mexican restaurant, to get an idea on how one starts their journey when opening a restaurant. I spoke with Javier Aguila, the owner of Balcón, and asked what will set his restaurant apart from others, and why he got into starting a restaurant.
So we definitely aim to be a high-energy place, but I think having that fine balance with creating a fun atmosphere, but also the food. I think the food will be one of those things that allows us to be different. All of our tortillas are handmade, and the recipes are actually, a lot of them are my mom's and my sister's. So I actually started my first place in Bastrop, Texas. So I wanted to get into hospitality. I heard a lot of stories on how tough it was going to be. And it definitely has its challenges. But I think overall, just wanting to work for myself and wanting to create something that was part of communities. And also the relationships I'm able to build with this is probably one of the most rewarding things.
If you like Mexican food, come on up to Balcón. Javier says it's a great place for a date, business meeting, or come and eat with your friends. Ray Yates with Bobcat Bulletin.
I'll bet you've noticed all the fireworks stands open this week. With just a few days till Independence Day, people are stocking up. The American Pyrotechnics Association is expecting record sales, both for personal and commercial use. The head of the association told CNN that the fireworks industry lost more than 90% of its business during the pandemic. Obviously, they're looking to bounce back strong this year. Get this, they're expecting sales to be almost $450 million. Expect record traffic, too. AAA is predicting the most people ever to travel this weekend, both driving and flying. They expect 51 million people to be out on the move, partly because gas and flights are cheaper than last year. Friday should be the busiest day, so if you can travel earlier or later, you'll have less company on the way. And gas isn't the only thing cheaper this year. You might have a little bit more money to spend on fireworks because your cookout should cost less. The American Farm Bureau Federation surveyed its members. They say the staples of grilling, burgers, buns, chicken, potato salad, and the like, should cost about 3% less than last year. This will still be the second most expensive year ever. Speaking of food, there's a new option coming out to some restaurants.
Yeah, but this one's a little unique. Reporter Ty Evans tells us about lab-grown meat.
From pasture to plate might not be the case anymore. Lab-grown meat has been given the green light to begin sales to restaurants in the United States. Amy Chen, the COO of Upside Food, says that they have started production on animal-based protein in their lab.
Choose the ones that will grow well, that taste delicious. You feed them nutrients that they would normally get inside of an animal's body, but we do it in different cultivators.
They have received FDA approval to sell their chicken to restaurants, but not to grocery stores.
Time you actually produce a batch of meat, the inspectors need to be on site supervising the process and ensuring that we're following all the processes that we've laid out and that high quality and safety are guaranteed based on the way that the product is produced.
Upside's chicken will be served at Michelin star restaurant Bar Cren in San Francisco, and Chen says that consumers will not be able to tell the difference.
More than 99% chicken cells, so it's as close to conventional meat as you can get. It's got the taste and the deliciousness, the fibers that you expect.
Ricardo San Martin, who is a professor of alternate meat and fermentation at UC Berkeley, shared his speculations.
Impact compared to the capital and the cost and price this will have. Everything for us, we don't see how this is going to have an impact really.
For the Bobcat Bulletin, I'm Ty Evans.
I like that it'll be cheaper to grill this weekend, but I'm not sure about lab-grown meat.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one. We need to get Ty to try it out first.
That's a good idea. Also, guess who I got to talk to last week?
Who?
Coach G.J. Kenny, which is Texas State's new football coach.
Just like I said in the opening press conference, these guys are hungry for a winner.
Texas State isn't known as a football powerhouse, but there's a change this year that can mean big things. I'll show you coming up.
What do you do when your team wins it all?
Since 2009 and 7th overall, the Tigers can say we are champions.
The Spurs land a big pick in the NBA draft, and later...
This is the kind of thing you can get at the Sam Martian flea market.
Longtime locals tell us what it's all about.
First, they said cigarettes were safe. Now, they say they didn't market e-cigarettes to teens. Fact, more than 1 in 4 high school students are vaping. Same lies, different day. Tell Big Vape to quit lying.
What do you think you're doing, Kevin?
Was just gonna drive home.
There are several warning signs present that you shouldn't be driving.
Like hearing voices?
Like your text-to-emoji ratio?
Oh man, the selfies.
Selfie nailed it. We all have warning signs that let us know that we're probably not okay to drive. Mine is pretending to be your subconscious.
Craig, come on man, let's split a ride home.
Bobcat football has a new boss.
Yeah, new head coach G.J. Kenny. I caught up with him as he met with fans last week in Austin. The new Texas State football coach, G.J. Kenny, is on tour around Central Texas to encourage Bobcat fans that this season will be the one for Texas State football.
It's really been unbelievable, just the support you feel and getting out and going to San Antonio and Dallas and Houston and now in Austin. Just like I said in the opening press conference, these guys are hungry for a winner, and that's what we're working to do, and just excited to get in front of these guys and share a little bit about the vision we have for the program.
Coach Kenny announced that the new transfers are meshing well with the team and is excited to be working with them on this upcoming season.
I felt like, our staff has done a really good job of that. Anytime you bring in that many players, and the recruiting and the quality of recruiting that we've been doing is I felt like something that that hasn't gone on here before. So that part's exciting. The style of play, like I said, offensively and defensively, it's going to be an exciting year, but we have a lot of work to do before we get there.
I had a chance to speak to Kobe Jackson, a student at Texas State who is a part of KTSW 89.9 Sports, as he expressed that he's excited to cover the start of the new Bobcat season.
I think that will engage a lot more students to, possibly show up to get more games, and heck, could possibly even show up to them, leading to a Sun Belt Conference championship and possibly a bowl game, a big-time bowl game as well. So, it's one of those things where you got to really rely on your coach, and like I said, it'll bring more fan attraction to it as long as, he keeps winning and keeps having a winning mentality. Then I think, honestly, he'll have a very successful season.
Texas State Athletics report that the Bobcats haven't had a winning season since 2014. Football season is right around the corner, and there's high hopes for G.J. Kenny to take Texas State far into this football season. They face the Baylor Bears September 2nd. Stephanie Soto for Bobcat Bulletin.
There's some other big sports news this week, so get this. Sunday, the LSU Tigers suffered a beatdown to the Florida Gators. LSU set a record, giving up 24 runs, the most ever in a College World Series. But that set up Game 3, winner take all to decide the College World title.
The College Baseball World Series took place in Omaha, Nebraska this past weekend. LSU barely won Game 1 with a score of 4-3, while the Florida Gators won Game 2 by a whopping 24-4 score. The third and final game took place on Monday, where the LSU Tigers took care of business, blowing out the Florida Gators by 14 runs. The final score was 18-4, and LSU was led by arguably the two best players in college baseball, in Dylan Cruz and Paul Skeens. They've been projected the number 1 and 2 pick in this upcoming MLB draft. It's a great time to be an LSU fan. I'm Ray Yates with Bobcat Bulletin.
2009.
We have some local sports news too.
Yeah, the NBA draft was last Thursday, and the San Antonio Spurs had the very first pick. They chose Victor Wembanyama. He's been playing in Europe and was the first French player ever picked first in the draft. He said great things about the Spurs and San Antonio in the news conference at the Riverwalk. Have you ever wondered what goes on in Wonder World Cave on Sundays?
I didn't know about this, but reporter Ty Evans and photographer Katie Mackey take us to the San Martian Flea Market. Check it out.
Just off Prospect Street, you can find the local attraction known as the Wonder World Cave. But on Sundays between 9 to 5, the San Martian Flea Market is held right there in the parking lot. Local vendor Ed Polzula told us a little bit about it.
What it brings to San Marcos is a spot to display, exchange, and make a little more community.
Rob Roark, also known as The Wiz, shared the significance of the flea market.
You never know what you're going to find out at the San Martian Flea Market. It's something a little different than most other ones.
The sculptures and plates, I do make it myself. It's the whole process from finding or preparing the clay that I use. Then I go and hunt for old plates or dishes. That's why I found the flea market, because they do have beautiful plates that nobody wants any longer. So I do get them and I do redo.
There's also a variety of local displays to look through.
It's all those things that you're going to find at the San Martian Flea Market. It's stuff for artists, stuff for vintage things, stuff for the 70s, for the 80s. The 80s and 90s stuff is, for the younger generation right now. That's the big stuff, is going back to before you guys were born.
Don't forget to grab some old-fashioned Texas barbecue when you visit. I'm Ty Evans for the Bobcat Bulletin. Back to you guys.
See y'all later. Come on out to San Martian Flea Market.
This is our last Bobcat Bulletin for the summer semester.
Thank you so much for joining us, and enjoy your summer.